This is it, the power of N64, the driving force in the next generation of video games. With 64-bit technology, you're witness to moves and graphics that no other system can match. 360-degree viewing, three-dimensional graphic interpretations, anti-aliasing for crisp graphics, and too many other things that are just going to blow your mind. Welcome to N64.
Welcome back to the Nintendo K channel. I am Danny, and today is actually my top 5 Nintendo 64 games of all time. This is my personal favorites, but leave me down below in the comments what are your favorites. I'm sure there's a ton of games in the library for Nintendo 64 that you guys probably grew up with or played recently that you're a big fan of, and I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. For me, the Nintendo 64 is one of the systems that really defined my childhood, especially going from the NES, Super Nintendo, eventually to Nintendo 64. Took my world to the third dimension, literally the first 3D system I ever played, and it really is a phenomenal system that I have tons of games that I can truly pick out of the bunch of them that I can truly call the top 5, and I hope that you guys consider them as well, because I actually played a lot of this with my friends and we had a ton of great time together. We have fond memories that we can actually reminisce and be nostalgic for, and this is the actual system that I played as a child. I actually kept my child system, and I'm very proud to still hold this in my collection to actually plug it in and play in the modern day. Of course, I have to upscale and everything, but nonetheless, I still have my child system and is really proud of right in my collection there. One of the key things about the Nintendo 64 that I remember is the actual controller. Now, this is the actual system controller that I played as well as a kid, and the thing about the analog joystick is the first of its kind, for me. And it's a really odd shaped controller if you think about it now in retrospect, because you have A and B and then these C sticks to control the camera for most of the games, like Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, and then this is the directional button that we're all familiar with. But the lack of dual analog sticks makes it a little bit different now. Now you look at retrospect, but one of the neat features is absolutely the Z targeting as well, and they have a little slot there for accessories. But I'm going to discuss that in a bit. We still have an LR from the Super Nintendo brought over, so they wrapped it up from the NES, Super Nintendo, now with the N64. So really interesting controller, but I still can use it to the modern day. Number 5, and this is a game for Star Fox 64 for Nintendo 64. This game, I remember playing it so much as a child because of the point system you have to rack up when you go through the Lilas system. You have multiple routes, so you play as Fox McCloud with as the leader of the Star Fox team. You get to see famous characters from the Star Fox, like Peppy Hare, Falco Lombardi, and you're going through all of the system and getting to fight Andros at the end. It's a really action-packed game. I love the fact that they have a lot of these dialogues that the animal creatures that do say in the game, like do a barrel. That's famous tagline for the game. It's just absolutely phenomenal into this day that people reminisce on that. I love the fact that the action is just non-stop from one stage to the next, all the way to the final encounter with Andros. And one of the key things with the Nintendo 64 controller is the inclusion of the Rumble Pak. So you can see why this is a big box. And I remember a VHS tape that they promoted back in the day. They something that has never been done before, rumbling in a game. So if you hit a ship or you fire a weapon and something collided with another object, you can feel the force feedback. And that is something that we take for granted. Now, this is the game that, for me at least, start of force feedback rumbling. So really nice game, and I truly recommend it if you guys haven't tried this game. This is actually an action-packed, anyone can pick up and play and rack up those points. So the next game is a game that I know that you guys are a big fan of, or at least many of you are, from the latest iteration, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that's going back to its predecessors, Mario Kart 64. This is a game that I played tremendously with my friends. I love the the variety of stages. Obviously I start from the Super Nintendo, the Super Mario Kart. I love that game to death. I love the battle system in there, but this one took it to the next level, to the third dimension, to be honest. This is a true 3D game, and one of the key things that I remember playing with my friends is racing. It's obviously just like Mario Kart, classic Mario Kart, you just race. The ability to go through various tracks like Rainbow Road, you can actually do a lot of shortcuts. If you know the game well, you can actually outpace your opponents really far ahead, because my friend was really good at this game, and I actually had to learn myself, going through all the nooks and nooks and crannies to get the little boosts and shortcuts. Again, a very variety of stages, like a Mario circuit, Luigi, Bowser's stages as well. It's just a phenomenal game. We even have a Donkey Kong stage. So this is Mario Kart 64, and that is number 4. So number 3. Now this is a game that a lot of you guys are anticipating for the Nintendo Switch. This is the very first one in the entry. That is Super Smash Bros., the original for Nintendo 64. Another game that I played a lot with my friends, countless hours. The fact that they had, it was such a novelty back then. We never thought of Nintendo characters fighting each other, beating up each other in a fashion that in this game presented. This is actually a game that may never been happen if Masahiro Sakurai didn't bring it to Nintendo's attention. They're like, you know what, this is maybe an experiment, and he brought it forth. And they loved it, and that's why we came up to be Super Smash Bros. I remember playing all the various characters like Pikachu, Mario, Samus, and of course I found out I love Link. Link is my main for the original Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. And this is a game that, although I haven't played this a bit of lately, but I can always go back if my friends ever want to go that far back, retro style, Super Smash Bros. It's a phenomenal game, and I love this. And this is a highly recommended game for the Nintendo 64 library. The entire Nintendo 64 collection is very difficult for me to choose because there are tons of games that many people have their favorites, and to sum it down to only 5 was a very difficult one, especially the last 2. The last 2 is my most defining game for the system, the games that people remember the Nintendo 64 very fondly. And number 2, and this is the one that I debated for quite a while, and that's why I couldn't make this video until now. It's been like at least 8 years of my channel that I couldn't make this video until I took this step forward to do it. Number 2 is Super Mario 64. Now this game really unbelievably changed the way I see games, my perception of it, because the fact is when I went to Toys R Us, I knew about the hype for Nintendo 64 back in the 90s, but when they had it in Toys R Us, the demo, you had a kiosk. I was a little kid and looking up, obviously I was short, not like today, and looking up at the screen, I'm like, wow. From 2D sprites to a 3D polygonal environments is just phenomenal. The varied environments is just incredible. You're going through the first stages on the game, going in 360 degrees, tilting the analog joystick just a little bit, and you tiptoe, and then you go all the way. You can run around the whole field. Obviously, even before you hit Peach's castle, you're literally in this big world to just explore, climb on trees. And then once you get into the world, like the ice world, the water world, the variety of level is just incredible. And this is an uncharted territory for Nintendo. Nintendo never done a game like this before, or any company, in matter of fact, before this game. So this set the tone for 3D platformers, and Super Mario 64 really defined it and took it to the next level. And this is what is the foundation for many 3D sandbox games are made, like Super Mario Odyssey, that game that many people beloved in Nintendo Switch generation. But this is the grandfather that started all of true classic Super Mario 64. Now, number 1, if you guys know me long enough, and this is a game that I adore so much. I even played countless times to get everything in the game, to know everything about it, because I was so engrossed into the lore, the adventure, and everything is about it. And that is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So this is a game that I remember back in the holiday season, I wanted so much. I was reading Nintendo Power magazine, and I saw the screenshots. I was like, oh my goodness, from A Link to the Past and then to a 3D Zelda game that I'd never seen before. This This is just a similar feeling when I went to thinking back Super Mario 64, but with the Zelda, it's such a much more deeper, engrossing gameplay that you can go through time as a young Link, and then growing up as adult Link 7 years later, seeing the destruction of Hyrule, the puzzles you have to go back and forth in time, the level design, the dungeons, the temples. Really varied in design, and again, this is a game that has never been done before. There is no precedent to base it on, and then the creators of the Legend of Zelda franchise just really took a lot of risks making this game, and it's like I said, it holds the test of time. It's considered one of the best game in history, and certainly one of the best games of all time in all systems combined. This is the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I'm proud to have this as a child. This is all the games you've seen so far, except Super Smash Bros. They're all my child copies. I'm very proud of them. This is my crowning part of my collection. So this is number 1, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. So just an honorable mention, I have 2 more games that I adored so much as well, and I played tremendously with my friends. The thing is, having top 5, I had to limit to the games that I played the most. You guys may have a different selection, but my selection for the honorable mention here, next one will be GoldenEye 007. This is a game developed by Rare. If you guys don't know, Rare did work with Nintendo back in the Nintendo 64 era. They did a tremendous amount of games in the library for the system, and this is one that the multiplayer is absolutely phenomenal. We would play countless hours into it, just like Mario Kart 64. We literally put countless hours after school. The first thing we thought in mind, let's put up that Nintendo 64, put in GoldenEye 007. And just duke it out with each other. 4-player split screen, you guys remember that? It's unbelievable. We would play like maybe a 20-inch TV, but it doesn't matter. Each person on the screen probably have like a 3-4 inches. I don't know how many inches it is, to be honest, but it was so tiny. We bared it. And it was a really memorable experience. This is a time where internet was not really around, and your friends would gather together, and that's the beauty of Nintendo 64. You have 4 ports on the system. We plug all 4 controls in, have a blast, and this is GoldenEye 007. Another honorable mention is Banjo-Kazooie. So taking light of Super Mario 64, they developed the design of the 3D world and the collectibles that's in the game. This has a lot of collectibles, and it took a lot of inspiration from Super Mario 64, made it their own. Rare also worked on this game. I'm sure many of you guys have beloved this franchise as well. This is the first entry. I had a blast playing. This is a great platformer. You have 2 characters, Banjo and Kazooie. Control, so you go into these varied worlds as well. You go and then you collect a lot of the puzzle pieces, the musical pieces. There's so many feathers, and then the final encounter with Gruntilda. So it's really interesting, a really interesting take. I love this game. I played this tremendously, and I completed 100%. Well, all the games that you noticed that I mentioned are all games that I beat 100%, because that's how much I love Nintendo 64, and I played. I can still play to this day and adore it as much as I did back in the day as a kid. So that is my top 5 Nintendo 64 games of all time. I'm sure you guys have your favorites as well. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. Leave me down below in the comments what are your thoughts on my top 5. What you think should be on the list. Maybe give you your input. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. If you enjoyed this top 5, we appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe to Nintendo K, that's always helpful. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you get all the notifications of the upcoming episodes and live stream coming your way. I'm Danny at the Nintendo K channel. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you again soon.
Man, that is one killer lineup.
Boy, are we in big trouble.
We just can't beat you guys.
Yeah? Well, as much as we'd love to stick around here and keep playing with you guys, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Oh, by the way, have you seen this?
What's that?
That's the Star Fox 64 Player's Guide. It teaches you everything you need to know about the game.
Let me see that.
You can buy it at the store.
Or, if you want more gaming information, check us out on the web at starfox64.com.
Thanks for the pizza, guys.
See you later, boys.